Welcome to Get Paid for Your Pad, the definitive show on Airbnb hosting, featuring the best advice on how to maximize profits from your Airbnb listing, as well as real-life experiences from Airbnb hosts all over the world. Welcome. We are your hosts, Josefa Kapadia and Jasper Rivers.
Get paid for your pad. 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 Get paid for your pad.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 39 of Get Paid for Your Pad. First of all, I want to start by wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving, especially the people who live in the US and those who don't. Thanksgiving is a holiday in the US where people express their gratitude to others and to the things that they value in their lives. So in line with this tradition, I wanted to start off by thanking the founders of Airbnb, Brian Chesky, Joe Gebbia, and Nathan Blecharczyk. Hope I pronounced that right. And also the other people that work at Airbnb and who have made it possible for us, Airbnb hosts, to share our homes and be empowered to do the things that we otherwise would not have been able to do. So thanks guys for making this possible. Now today, I'm actually do not want to talk about Airbnb. And the reason is, I was thinking earlier today, what is it that Airbnb is? Like, why do people like Airbnb? And I thought, well, it's about, making some extra money. It's about sharing your house, and it's about connecting with other people. And there are a lot of other ways that you can essentially do the same thing, but using different platforms. And instead of sharing your house, you can share other things, whether it's other assets, or the skills, or the knowledge, or just your time. So today I wanna talk about some of these other platforms, and I figure that I'm actually really interested in maybe signing up at some of these other platforms, and I think a lot of other people will be as well. So I'm going to be talking about the sharing economy, about monetizing your assets, skills, knowledge, and time. Now, the sharing economy has been around for a while, but awareness is still pretty low. And I was just at the Airbnb Open in San Francisco last week, and the CMO of Airbnb, his name is Jonathan Millenholt, he told us that awareness for Airbnb is still less than 1%, even though Airbnb is the second highest valued peer-to-peer platform around. At I think it's 17 billion right now. I think Uber is the only one that's bigger. So if you think about it, if only 1% of the people know about Airbnb, then how many people know about all the other platforms? Probably not a lot. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. There's all these other platforms that offer tons of opportunities for anyone to make some extra side money and do the things you're passionate about. So I want to start off by quoting Jamie Wong, who is the co-founder and CEO of Viable, which is a social marketplace for experiences. And she has a really cool quote about what the sharing economy is really about. What defines this new economy is that it's built on the empowerment of individuals and the technology that enables this. It's allowing individuals to create their own jobs. It's a celebration of life and time, and a shift in perspective of money. Technology now provides an opportunity for people anywhere in the world to monetize their passions. And it's not just the artists and underemployed flocking to these platforms, but professionals who seek a higher quality of life, greater flexibility, and more time with their families. Now, I think this is a really cool way to describe the sharing economy, and I can really relate to this because for me, traveling is my passion, and Airbnb enables me to do it. And it's just so empowering to be able to do all these things because of these platforms. So another thing I wanted to mention is they actually came up with a name for people who basically create their own jobs by enlisting on sharing economy platforms. And they call them micropreneurs. And I looked up the definition, and here's a good one. A micropreneur is an entrepreneur willing to accept the risk of starting and managing the type of business that remains small, lets them do the kind of work they want to do, and offers them a balanced lifestyle. And this quote is this definition is from the investordictionary.com. So think about a micropreneur. Let's say you rent out your house on Airbnb, and then you drive Uber a couple of days for a couple of hours a day, and then maybe in the afternoon you tutor somebody, and there's a platform for that as well. And maybe you rent out your car on a car sharing platform. Maybe you cook for some people using meal sharing platforms. And by doing all these things, you can pretty much gather a full-time income, and that's just a really cool concept. So I'm going to go through all these different platforms and all the different ways that you can monetize yourself. I want to start with something that relates the most to Airbnb hosts, because as an Airbnb host, you have a house, so you also have a kitchen. So what you can do is you can sign up on one of the meal sharing platforms. And the way this works is you basically run your own little restaurant in your house. You cook a meal, you post it on the platform, and then people can sign up for your meal. They'll come to your house, they'll have dinner with you, and then they'll pay you. So it's a really cool concept, especially if you like cooking. And if you think about it, I like cooking. I usually cook for myself. Well, it doesn't take that much extra time to cook for 3 or 4 people, or maybe even more. So it's not going to take me much more time, but that way I can make some extra money, and I'll be able to meet other people, probably in my neighborhood. So it's pretty cool. There's a few meal sharing platforms. I think they're only in the US. Actually, one's international, but check them out. One's called Feastly, and the other one is called Eat With. Now, if I'm correct, Eat With is the international one. The next thing I want to talk about is car sharing. Now, I did some research before this episode, and I came across a crazy statistics. Cars are used in such an inefficient way, it's incredible. Apparently, 95% of the time, a car is parked. So basically, for every hour that passes, the average car spends 3 minutes on the road and 57 minutes doing absolutely nothing. Well, it's not really doing nothing, it's taking up space. And if you think about it, imagine a city like New York and San Francisco, crowded cities where it's so hard to find a parking spot. And why is that? That's because 95% of the time, cars are parked. So it's crazy. So think about how much space all these vehicles take up, and think about if we were able to use these cars in a more efficient way. Think about how much extra space that would clean up. If a car would be on the road 100% of the time, that would mean that only 1 in 20 people that own a car now would own one. Pretty amazing. Now, this is of course practically kind of impossible, but it kind of shows how much potential there is to just find a better solution for transportation needs. And the other interesting thought is, think about all the car rental companies. And why do they even exist? 95% of our cars are doing nothing. Why do we have to go to a car rental agency to rent a car? Our cities are packed with cars that are not being used. So the car sharing platforms are really amazing. Let me mention a few of them. One's called Relay Rides. There's one called Get Around, and I believe these are US only. But there's there's one in France. It's called Drivey. So the way this works is you basically just sign up and you run your own little car rental agency. Now, the first thing that people will say, because I talk to people about this, and everyone says, well, yeah, I don't want to rent out my car. What if somebody crashes it? What if somebody damages it? Well, it's funny because that's the same thing that Airbnb hosts always say before they start hosting. What if my guests steal my stuff? What if my guest damages my apartment? What if my guest causes trouble? What if they party? Etc., etc. Well, these worries usually never materialize, but if it does, there's an insurance. Airbnb has a host guarantee. Maybe they also have a ghost, the Airbnb ghost. I haven't seen him, but anyway, of course, these car sharing platforms have collective insurance. So you rent out your car on one of these platforms, and if it gets damaged, you will be refunded. And guys, I mean, think about it. A car is a piece of metal that brings us from A to B. You know, don't get too emotional about your car. The other thing is ride sharing. Now, how does ride sharing differ from car sharing? Well, with car sharing, you rent out your car, whereas with ride sharing, you share your ride. So you're actually driving someone from A to B. Now, obviously, the most famous one is Uber. I think they're valued at over $20 billion now. But there's some other ones. There's Lyft, and there's Sidecar. And whereas Uber and Lyft are more like almost like taxi services, I think Sidecar is more of a platform where you can let people know that you're driving to a certain city, and then people who also want to go there, they can they can hit you up and you can share the ride, kind of like carpooling, I think. So if you have a car, check these platforms out. Next thing I want to talk about is teaching and tutoring. Now, we all have knowledge and we all have something to teach. But in the old days, to be able to teach, you either have to advertise in newspapers or put little notes up in supermarkets and stuff, or you apply for a job at the school. But now, with the help of a number of cool platforms that I will mention in a few minutes, you can literally teach and tutor from anywhere in the world, anything that you want. Any sort of knowledge you have, you can share and you can get paid for it. Now, I've asked people if they would be interested in doing this, and the number one thing that people mention is they say, well, I'm not an expert. Yeah, I might know a little bit about a few subjects, but not enough to teach. I'm not like an expert or somebody who knows much more about the subject than other people. And it's funny because people seem to underestimate how much they know. And there's this really cool blog. It's called Expert Enough. It's by Corbett Barr, and he talks. His complete site is based on the fact that you don't need to be an expert to teach or to offer value to others, because most people, know very little about the thing that you know about. So he has a really cool quote that I wanted to mention. Corbett Barr, he says, "Expertise isn't an absolute. Think of it as a scale from 1 to 10. If you're free, there are plenty of 1s and 2s out there who you can teach, and probably better than people with more expertise." And this makes a lot of sense to me, because imagine you want to teach a first grader some math. Well, obviously, it's going to be very simple math, right? Now, who do you think is better at teaching this? Somebody who is like an intermediate at math, or Albert Einstein? Obviously the person who's intermediate is a better teacher, because that person can relate much more to the student than Albert Einstein. Actually, I read this thing on the internet that Albert Einstein wasn't actually good at math, but for the sake of this example, let's just assume that he's a genius. Anyway, so the takeaway from this is you probably don't even realize how many different things you could teach. And there's all these cool platforms out there that can help you make some money by teaching things that you are passionate about. Now, the first thing I want to mention is Wyzant. That's W-Y-Z-A-N-T. Now, my friendly co-host, Josefa Kapadia, actually teaches some math and some algebra and some other things on this platform, and he's had some really good success with it. So Wyzant focuses mostly on academic subjects, such as math, languages, computer science, and a lot of other subjects. And they're pretty big. They claim that they have tutors within 10 miles of 94% of the US population, and over 3 million hours have been taught through the platform. Now, what's really cool about Wyzant is that you can set your own rate, unlike some of the other platforms. So you just sign up, and then you set your rate, you create your profile, and within 48 hours, a Wyzant staff member will reply, and there you go. You can even teach on Skype, so you don't even have to go anywhere. Another good platform is called Take Lessons. They started out as an online marketplace for music lessons, but they've recently expanded into some other verticals, academic tutoring, performing arts, and apparently their teachers have earned over 25 million. So go ahead and check that out. The third one I wanted to mention is Tutor.com. They have 11 million lessons taught so far, and they pay their tutors a standard rate, so you can't choose your own rate. It depends on the subject that you are teaching. That's why I like Wyzant better, because I like the fact that you're flexible. Now, for Tutor.com, there's some restrictions. You have to reside in the US, and you have to at least be a college sophomore or higher. And if you are, then you can apply and go teach. Last one I want to mention is a really cool one. It's Insta.edu. So Insta and then EDU. It's an online-only tutoring platform. So you can teach from anywhere in the world. So think about the opportunities that offers. You can go anywhere in the world. You can sit on some tropical island in the middle of nowhere in the South Pacific and teach whatever subject that you have some expertise on, and make some money. So their tutors cover over 2,500 subjects, ranging from basic subjects to all sorts of advanced courses, college courses, and academic courses. You get a standard $20 per hour for your lessons. So think about this. Like, let's go to like a cool tropical country like Guatemala or something, and rent a house for $500. And it's very cheap there, so you can probably live off $500 a month. So that's $1,000 in total divided by 20. That's 50 hours, which is 12 hours per week, which is 2 hours. Let's round it up to 2 hours a day. So, just saying. Alrighty, so from teaching and tutoring, we're now going to go to some less well-known platforms. The first one I want to mention is Dogsitting. Now, when I told Josefa about this, he went mental, because Josefa is the biggest dog lover that I've ever seen. Like, literally, you walk on the street with him, and if there's a dog within half a mile range, like, he'll literally run over and start petting it for like half an hour. So it's pretty funny. Anyway, so if you're a dog lover, you can sign up at the platform, and you will get paid for sitting somebody else's dog. And this is really cool because I know a lot of people love dogs, and a lot of people are not in the position to have a dog, right? If you live downtown in a big city and you have to work 10 hours a day, you can't really look after your dog. So when you have some time in the weekend or whenever, you can look after somebody else's dog. Two cool platforms. The first one is called Rover, www.rover.com, and the other one is called DogVK, so DOGVACAY. I'll mention all these different platforms in the show notes, so no worries if you are not in a position to write all this down. Next one, musical instrument rentals. If you have a musical instrument that's lying around, let's say you have a guitar or something or saxophone, you can rent it out. Why not? It's lying there in your closet, you're not doing anything with it. The website is called sparkplug.it. So go and check that out if you have some instruments lying around. Jobs, simple jobs. The website is called GigWalk, and this website focuses on small jobs that anyone can do, and it's mostly about just going to a supermarket and checking to see if a product is in the right place, or going to some sort of event to see if the marketing of a certain product is done well. These are all like pretty easy jobs that anyone can do, and you can just make like $15-20 an hour or so. Finally, one of my favorites, I mentioned the co-founder and the CEO earlier, Jamie Wong, and this is a really cool platform, and it's really interesting for myself actually, because it's about being a local tour guide. So how does it work? Well, if you live somewhere, and we all do, so I think we all qualify, you probably have some knowledge about your area. You know the good restaurants, you know the good bars, you know the good sightseeing spots, etc. So what you can do is you can sign up for this platform and you can run your own little tour guide business. Now, how cool is that? You basically get to meet people from all around the world, show them the cool things in your area, and you get paid for it. Fucking brilliant. Sign up at www.viable.com, so VAWABLE.com. Oh, I forgot one. This is probably not something that I will be doing personally, but if you're interested, babysitting. The site's called urbansitter.com, and it's created by moms, and maybe also for moms, I don't know. But yeah, if you have some free time in the evening and you need some extra cash and you enjoy looking after a screaming baby, then go ahead and sign up and do it. Awesome. So this basically was it. These are all the different platforms that I've found. Now, a lot of them aren't available internationally yet. A lot of them are actually focused on the US. But hey, this is a trend that's going to continue. The sharing economy is here to stay, and these platforms are all expanding pretty quickly. So I'm pretty sure within a few years, most of these things will be available either worldwide or at least in Europe and in Asia, and hopefully some other places as well. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. No talking about Airbnb this time. Go and check out these different platforms, and I think I'm definitely gonna do the Viable one. That's really cool. And then the meal sharing one I'm really interested in too. Now the problem is I travel around, so I typically don't have a kitchen. But if I would live in one place, I would totally do it. Sounds awesome. Oh, I forgot one. Flight car. You can park your car at the airport, and instead of paying, you get paid for parking your car at the airport because the people will rent it out to people who are arriving in your city. So, this is another thing. Every time I'm at an airport, you look at the parking garages and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of cars doing absolutely nothing. But then people go to a car rental agency to rent a car. Doesn't make sense. So now you can use Flightcar. You park your car at the airport, you go on holiday, 2 weeks later you come back, and instead of paying a couple $100, you will now receive a few $100. And the people, obviously your car will be insured, so don't worry. And also, your car will be completely cleaned. It'll be vacuumed, so like it'll just look like brand new. Awesome. Oh yeah, and the last one I want to mention, I keep thinking of other platforms. If you live in New York or San Francisco, you can make some money by delivering goods using a platform called Vun. Now you don't actually need a car. You can deliver by bike, or if you like running, I guess you can just do it by running. Awesome. So thank you so much for listening. Although I didn't talk about Airbnb, I do want to let you guys know that you can go to getpaidforyourpet.com and you can get the first 3 chapters of our book. That's been an Amazon bestseller for a while now, which is really exciting. And I also got at the Airbnb Open last week, I actually got to hand out a signed copy to all 3 of the founders, so that was really exciting. Brian Chesky looked really happy with his copy. Anyway, you can go to the website, you can get the first 3 chapters for free. And obviously, every Monday and Thursday, we have another episode coming up. Now, I've met a lot of other hosts on the Airbnb Open, so we've got about 20 people lined up who are going to be sharing their stories. A lot of them are super hosts, so they have some really cool stuff to say. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Get paid for your pet. Get paid for your pet. Get paid for your pet.